Right, and welcome back to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And we have the first of three parts, this one, split it into three. We're going to look back at the time. Wonderful, another legend, of course, who's sadly left us, Fernandinho. We're going to have a look back at his 9 seasons at City and a little bit of, obviously, in this one, this first episode, a little bit about where he came from and what he was, etc. But we're going to mainly concentrate on his time at our beloved club, and obviously we all thank him for his wonderful service, of course. So, yeah, this is part one. Please, if you do like what I try and do, please push that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and press the like button, guys. It's great with things like this, little specials like this. It's great to get lots of likes, so you can give us your support and pass the word for the vlogs. That'll be great for my little citizen vlogs. That'll be fantastic. Right, let's talk about Fernandinho. Yeah, we'll be quoting some other people and looking at stuff in King of the Kid packs like end of season reports, stuff like that. Well, we go through. Yeah, on 6th of June, 2013, was it blazing June? Yeah, we're nearly in June now as I'm recording this. Fernandinho became City's first signing of that summer, a fee of approximately £34 million. So not bad, even at those times, even back in 2013, that was cheap. His full name was Fernando Luis Rosa, and he came, of course, from the Ukrainian club Shakhtar Donetsk. Well, they'll get a few mentions today as well. He'd won 14 winners' medals in 8 seasons there, so he'd done very well. 6 titles, 6 league titles, 4 Ukrainian Cups, 3 Ukrainian Super Cups. I assume that's a bit like our Community Shield. And a UEFA Cup as well. Fantastic. Yeah, it's a shame he didn't add to his European trophies with us, but hey, we can't have everything, can we? And he made, I think it was 284 appearances and scored 53 goals. That's not a bad return for a midfielder. He signed a 4-year deal, of course, when he first joined us, and understood to wage around £4 million owed to him by Shakhtar in order to complete this move. He was that desperate to get over to play for City, not just to get the Premier League, but to play for City. It was said about him, obviously people would have caught up with him on YouTube and various things, but he said he had an explosive turn of pace, marathon lung power, and the ability to break up opposition moves. Well, we're aware of that, weren't we? And would complement Yaya, Milner and Barry, who we had in midfield at the time, don't forget. So quite an interesting midfield. He was also said to have a rocket of a shot as well. We'll talk about that later on as we get to the end of his career at City. He wasn't that bad with his head either, was he? He did score a few headed goals. He was pretty good defensively and an attacking option as far as his head was concerned. Because when he made his first team career debut, obviously, it was in Brazil at Atletico Paranaense, who he's actually going back to, I believe, in Brazil. Shakhtar added him to their large contingent of Brazilian players, of course, when he was just 20. And he was soon impressed, of course, winning many titles, of course, including that UEFA Cup. And when he joined City, he'd appeared for Brazil 5 times by that stage. By the time he left us, of course, or by the time his international career finished, he'd played over 50 times for his country. During his time as Shakhtar, the Brazilian wore the number 7 shirt, but of course James Milner had that on his back when he came to us. So, apparently he had to choose another. And in an interview with Manchester City, Fernandinho recalled a conversation with his son in which his son said, "My dad is the new number 25. So I don't know where he got that from. And so Fernandinho subsequently chose 25 as his new number. You've got to do as your son says, haven't you? So let's have a quick look, or a sort of little look at his debut season, of course, 2013-14, under of course, charming man Manuel Pellegrini, wasn't it? He always used social media, of course, throughout his career at City. He was always one of the City players who posted a lot of stuff on Twitter. And he posted a tweet which became quite iconic just before joining City for his first training session. I think it was the 7th of July, it was dated, 2013. And it simply said, "Time to sleep. Tomorrow was my first day of work at Man City. I am very anxious. Good night," and a load of Zs, a load of sleeps. And obviously he did revert back to that when at the end of his playing career. We'll talk about that later. Of course, he would also quote this, commenting he'd only need to change one word, of course, on the 22nd of May 2022, when it was obviously his last day of work, wasn't it, for us. He would make his Premier League debut on the 19th of August 2013 against the Geordies, Newcastle United, in a 4-0 win. win, 4-0 home win. In his programme notes for the game, Pellegrini said of Ferner, is maybe the surprise package. Not many people may have seen him as he's been playing in the Ukraine, but I've seen his Champions League performances and he's a very good player. He scored his first 2 goals for City. Well, his first goal and his second goal in the same game on that wonderful game. Yeah, I remember this on the 14th of December 2013. Arsenal, a 6-3 home win. That was pretty outstanding. He was sort of buzzing after that, I remember, and was also named man of the match after a pretty stunning display. City also got a pen towards the end of that and said further said he was sort of wanted to go up and take it to try and get his hat-trick, but obviously it was all about the team, so obviously he didn't, but he said he was itching to get to that ball and perhaps claim a hat-trick as well. On the 2nd of March, Further appeared for City in the League Cup final against Sunderland, another great day, where he won his first trophy in England in a 3-1 win. That was the 11th of May. Ferner didn't. I'll call him Ferner now. It's a bit cheater. That's what I used to call him anyway in my lineups and stuff. Ferner didn't start the 2-0 win against West Ham United in the final title clinching game, of course, of that season, but appeared as a substitute for striker Edin Dzeko in the 69th minute. And afterwards he said, I am so happy. I'm so glad to help my team. I'm so proud to play for this team. I think I made the right decision to come to England and Man City. Again, he had another tweet later, we'll quote, very similar to that. When he was leaving us. David Concannon, summed up his first season at City in King of the Kipats issue 216. It was the class of 2013-14. So get me a little thing on this one. He says in this, at first we looked like we got ourselves another Gelson Fernandez. But as time wore on, you could increasingly see why we paid so much for him. Whilst many still lament the loss of Gareth Barry, you'd have to be half blind not to see that Fernandinho is a significant improvement, whilst both protecting the back four and will mop up as well. What the Brazilian does is win the ball and set the tempo for a quick attack by moving the ball so quickly. It's a vital cog in the machine and was a main reason why we scored so many goals at a time when we were still fresh. Unfortunately, his form tailed off at the end of the season, partly due to a niggling injury and partly due to fatigue. We need to be looking at ways of giving him more time off next season, and that might mean moving into the transfer market. He's a key part of the game plan, but especially with him playing in the World Cup too, he's in danger of being flogged to death. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, Ferner would comment about in a couple of seasons' time about being fit, and always obviously sometimes with the internationals he wasn't always fit at the start of a season. And he gave him David Concannon gave him an A-. That wasn't a bad score, was it? And I think the editor added, the anchor in the midfield for a good 3 or 4 years to come, or perhaps longer as well. So there you go. So his stats for that season, he played 46. He started 4 as substitute. Scored 5 goals, which is a good return. Got 11 yellow cards, no reds that season. There were some to come, and he had a 76% win rate, so that wasn't too bad. Although that was quite high. It would dip just a little bit as we go into 2014-15. Of course, a struggle for Ferner and a struggle for City, I'd call it. I headed this one. Of course, the 14-15 season was a little bit disappointing for City, who seem to suffer a bit of a hangover from the previous season's success, and likewise Ferner struggled himself. He had his disciplinary problems on the pitch, didn't always get away with that cheeky grin. He hadn't quite perfected it then, I don't think, to the refs after less than a legal tackle or a block. One such game on the 5th of November 2014 in the 2014-15 Champions League group match against CSKA Moscow. Fernandinho replaced Navas at half-time with City losing 2-1 down. He was then sent off in the 70th minute for a second booking, so it didn't last long. And of course, teammate Yaya Toure followed later as the team we lost all composure in that one and fell to last place in the group. His first goal for City that season came on the 28th of December in a 2-2 draw with Burnley at the Etihad. And in a feature entitled Silk and Steel for the matchday programme against Arsenal on the 18th of January 2015, the piece talks about him being restricted in his play. Yeah, City fans have never really seen Ferner, the article said, set free of his defensive duties in 18 months at the club, apart from the 6-3 Arsenal game the previous season. Absolutely right. His partnership with Yaya meant that sort of Yana, not Ferner, was freer to roam forward, so it sort of left Ferner sort of mopping up at the back. and like the Everton man. But in games like the Everton match, on the 10th of January, where he could roam forward, he saw what he could do. He actually equalised for City in that game late on. But because we could see that ability going forward as well from Fernand, not just as a DM, which is what we came to know him better as, of course. His third and final goal for that season was a last-minute winner against Villa at the Etihad on the 25th of April, a 3-2 win. So not the greatest season for Fernand, not the greatest season for City, but his season was summed up quite cruelly, actually, by John Burfield in the King of the Kippax, issue 225, with his class of 2015 summing up. So I'll just read that out to you. And he called him Big Fern in this one. Had some decent games, most notably away at Woodison Park, but really says he's just not good enough. But reality says he's just not good enough for what we want to be. Frequently caught in possession and inveterate spectator at free kicks and a questionable passer of the ball. Don't hold back, mate. A passer of the ball. Even Middlesbrough had his number. Might have gotten a better press had he been used consistently in a 4-5-1 as an out-and-out spoiler. But in a 4-4-2, when your partner's Yaya, you are sadly required to be all things to all men. And Fernand just isn't an accomplished enough player to run a game. Not for the first time in this review, the finger of blame points at the manager for this. And my abiding memory of Big Fern last season was him being deployed part of the ridiculous defensive midfield double act at home to Hull, and then being expected to act as the de facto conductor, a role that was manifestly beyond him and led to inevitable moans and groans from the terraces. I felt sorry for the guy at times, but as a footballer, I'd argue that whilst more mobile, he isn't even as good technically as his predecessor Javier Garcia. And options of sell or keep. He said sell. So yeah, not the greatest review there of, but it was a bit of a strange season. Look at the stats for it as well. His season stats. He played a lot of games. He played 43, but 12 of those were a substitute. Scored 3 goals, 51% win rate, 10 yellows, and that 1 red card. So onwards and upwards for Fernand, hopefully on 2015-16 season. And it would go a little bit better this season. On the 16th of August 2015, Fernand scored the final goal in City's 3-0 league win over Chelsea. He added to his tally a mere 2 weeks later with City's second goal in a City defeat of Watford in the Premier League. And all seemed to be going very, very well as City started this season brilliantly with 5 wins from 5 games. Fernand cited that the players were now more comfortable in the formation and the style of the team, mainly thanks to the hard work they put in pre-season, and he was more than happy with his early season form and fitness. Fernand will score his first UCL goal for City in a 3-1 win away at Seville on match day 4 on the 3rd of November. Many at the time had this as Fernand's best display in a City shirt. He himself said, I was able to get forward more. I was very happy and really enjoyed myself. I think I can say that was my best City performance. Fernand's fitness had never been a real problem leading up to him joining City. He commented that my body works best when I'm playing all the time, so when I work more and play more, I feel better. In the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg against Everton on the 27th of January, he scored the opener in a 3-1 win to help City to Wembley yet again. And Fernand started as City beat, of course, Liverpool in the 2016 Capital One Cup final. He scored to put City 1-0 up in that game, although Liverpool did equalise. Subsequently, he missed a penalty in the shootout, but fortunately, we did scrape through and took the cup home on that one. As we strive to reach our first ever UCL final, Champions League final, Fernand scored a second and crucial goal in the away leg at PSG in a 2-2 draw on the 6th of April. A 1-0 home win, of course, would take us to our first Champions League semi-final. So much better, and despite just a Capital One Cup, as we didn't progress much in the other one, with the arrival of a new manager on the horizon, of course, with Pep on his way, well, that's why I sort of said him before, all look set for some glory years ahead for this recently turned 31-year-old. So did he do any better? Did he do any better in the King of the Kippax end of season report? Well, we'll go to King of the Kippax 234 issue. And in the hot seat this time is Damien Duffy. He does the class of 2015 and 16. And he says on Ferner, one of our best performers, they are much better. Quality on the ball in the tackle and mobile about the pitch. He has even slotted in at centre-back, which is an option that could be explored further. It will be. Certainly against teams that sit back against us, he has the ability to bring the ball out of play effectively, allowing an extra forward impetus, knocking on a bit to truly kick on under Guardiola, but a reliable and consistent performer. Again, his rating A-, so he's doing okay, isn't he? So his season stats for that season, played 50 to a sub, a hell of a performance, hell of a turnout ratio. Played 50 to a sub, scored 6 goals. His win rate though was only 50%, so it wasn't the greatest. And he got 11 yellows, but he didn't get any reds that season. But that will sort of go a little bit downhill coming soon. So please. That's the end of part 1. Join me in part 2, of course, as we look at the start of the Ferner and Pep years, don't we? As Pep comes, and perhaps we'll grab a few more trophies on the way as well. Who knows? But please join me for part 2 if you get a chance. That should be available, depending when you're recording this, should be available now or in a few days. Keep your eyes out for it. Fernandinho part 2. Thanks for watching, guys. Please, until we meet again, please stay safe, everyone. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.